I'm Steve Philion. I'm the director of the Faculty Research Group on Immigrant Workers in Minnesota. And this is a panel that I put together that I'm very excited about because I think it's one that is probably rarely takes place and one that is very much needed. One which includes workers' centers, organizers of immigrant workers, and immigrant workers who are very actively involved in organizing fellow immigrant workers around a number of important issues that they face. The reason why I think this is a very exciting panel is, well, twofold. One, because it gives the persons who are involved in organizing here, and I said Workers' Center, we also have the Rafael Morataya from a union, the SEIU, the Service Employees Union, a chance to dialogue with each other about issues that they're facing as they are doing organizing in immigrant workers' communities. Challenges and successes, or maybe successes and challenges. The second thing that I am kind of excited about with this panel is that when we think about immigrant worker organizing, very often that's thought immediately what pops into people's minds is Latino workers and undocumented workers and the like. But of course, there are very large populations of Somali refugees here who are working and who face, in many ways, as the last panel just noted, similar and overlapping issues in terms of class-based struggles. And so we have Garat, Ibrahim here from the new Center for Community based in Chicago, which does organizing around healthcare issues, but is really interested in healthcare issues as they affect immigrant working populations and families. And finally, we also have 3 immigrant workers who are very actively involved in immigrant worker organizing. These 3 gentlemen are from, I'm sorry, 2 gentlemen and, where's the time? Okay. These 3 workers are here with an organization called SEIU, which, Brian, you could perhaps just say that for me.
It's the Centro de Trabajadores, Unidos and Lucha, the Center of Workers United in Struggle.
Thank you. If that was in Chinese, I could do it beautifully, but I'm afraid it's in Spanish, so I'm deficient. But in any event, this is a very unique panel because unlike many panels or unlike many conferences which talk about the issues that immigrants face or immigrant workers face, rarely do we have the honor of having actual immigrant workers who are the real experts on these issues coming and speaking and having a voice on panels and actually having a role in how these discussions take place. So this is, for me, a really exciting opportunity at a whole number of levels. And finally, I just want to emphasize one last thing about the panel, the emphasis on immigrant workers as agents of social and political change. Very often, these dialogues take place, or these discussions and conferences take place, and what's focused on is almost entirely their role as victims. But in this particular instance, we don't have victims. We don't have immigrant workers here who are merely victims. They are actually people who have, as it were, taken control of their lives and their collective destinies. And so that is what I would like to focus on. And now, having said that, what I would like to do is simply play, if you will, informally kind of role of moderator here and ask each of the guests to speak for however, 5 to 7, 8 minutes, or however long you're comfortable using, to address the question of what kind of challenges and successes have you faced in organizing in Minnesota, and then if you could discuss among yourselves and have a conversation about overlaps and differences in terms of the kind of challenges that you face with respect to the kinds of organizing communities that you're dealing with. So I'll hand it over to now the actual panelists to take control of the remainder of this panel, and I'll just play, as it were, informal moderator.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Colloly y soy miembro del Centro de Trabajadores Unidos y Lucha.
Good afternoon, my name is Colloly. I'm a member of the Center of Workers United in Struggle.
Nosotros en el centro somos un centro organizando trabajadores, creado por trabajadores para pelear por los derechos laborales.
We're an organization that's formed of workers that are fighting for better wages and working conditions.
En este centro nosotros les damos a conocer a los trabajadores y personas que llegan buscando apoyo sobre los derechos que tienen como trabajadores aquí en este país.
In the center, we inform workers about their rights in the workplace and the rights that we have in this country as workers.
Y les damos a conocer también sobre algunas leyes que a nosotros como trabajadores inmigrantes nos ayudan.
And we talk about what laws support workers' rights.
Ahí en el centro tratamos de organizar a toda clase de trabajadores. No se discrimina a ningún tipo de trabajador por raza, religión, política. Ahí se le ayuda a cualquier trabajador de cualquier tipo de trabajo también.
At the center, we organize with all workers. We don't discriminate based on race, religion, or any political background, and we organize with workers from many different industries.
Nosotros ya llevamos más de un año como organización independiente porque pertenecíamos anteriormente, hace 3 años, como a WIN, que es parte de donde nosotros salimos.
And for about a year now, we've been an independent organization and formed our own organization. Previously to that, we were part of a larger organization, the Workers Interfaith Network, or WIN.
La idea de nosotros es de crear un centro de trabajadores creado por los mismos trabajadores para pelear y organizarse en buscar mejoras en salarios y mejores beneficios para todos los trabajadores.
And our idea is to have a center that's formed for workers and by workers, where we can organize to gain better wages and better working conditions.
La base de nosotros, como ya les digo, son puros trabajadores. El movimiento o la idea es de crear que el mismo trabajador sea líder en sus trabajos para tomar decisiones y todos crear un movimiento para cambiar las condiciones que nosotros los trabajadores vivimos cada día en los centros de trabajo.
And we work on developing leadership so that workers can be leaders in their workplaces and they can be the ones that are leading a movement for change in their workplaces and broader changes.
La idea es de cambiar de raíz los problemas, atacar los problemas desde raíz y que haga un cambio justo para todos los trabajadores que estamos aquí saliendo adelante, tratando de sacar adelante a la familia y que este movimiento de trabajadores latinos sea algo que sea reconocido por toda la gente en este país.
And the idea is that we get to the root of exploitation and why people are exploited in the workplace, and we can create broader justice, and that all workers would be able to organize and have better working conditions.
Y para eso nosotros damos a conocer a toda la gente, a estudiantes universitarios, a grupos religiosos donde hacemos presentaciones, darles a conocer de que nosotros como gente latina estamos peleando por derechos como personas y como seres humanos, que las leyes a nosotros no siempre nos benefician.
And we also build coalitions, coming out talking with student organizations and faith-based organizations as Latino workers, so that we can talk about this issue, that the law always isn't necessarily enough to be able to fight for what's right in the workplace.
Y creando un grupo, organizándonos como trabajadores, crear un movimiento para que toda la gente sepa que los trabajadores hispanos están defendiendo sus derechos y creando que toda la gente que sepa que los problemas y abusos que están sucediendo con los trabajadores, no importando el tipo de trabajo, que nosotros estamos tratando de hacer un cambio y que queremos el cambio ahora porque ha habido muchas dificultades y problemas a nivel de política, a nivel no sé, tal vez de racismo.
And so organizing to be able to build this movement, to be able to confront issues both on a political level, but around basic racism as well.
Bueno, en el centro nosotros también llevamos una campaña ahora, es una campaña de limpieza en donde estamos organizando puros trabajadores que trabajan en tiendas como Target, Cat Food y Loans and Wireless.
And right now we're organizing a campaign where we're organizing with retail cleaning workers, with workers who clean at stores like Target, Cup Foods, and Lunds and Byerly's.
Y para esto va a hablar el compañero Eduardo sobre la campaña de limpieza que nosotros tenemos en este momento.
And Eduardo is going to talk a little bit about the retail cleaning campaign and what we're doing with that campaign.
Hola, buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Eduardo Dávalos.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eduardo Dávalos.
Soy trabajador de limpieza en la compañía National Floor Maintenance que limpia las tiendas de Lunds and Byerly's.
I'm a retail cleaning worker working for a company called National Floor Maintenance, cleaning Lunds and Byerly's stores.
La razón por la que me uní a este movimiento es porque hace 10 años los pagos de por hora eran de $10, $12 y ahora es el mínimo que están pagando los tiendas.
The reason I've got involved in this campaign is because 10 years ago, workers working in this industry were making $10, $11 an hour. Today, workers doing the same work are making minimum wage.
Y todo está pasando porque las tiendas las que hacen el contrato con la compañía hacen como competencia a ver qué compañía que da el precio más bajo y se queda con el contrato.
And all of this is happening is because the stores are putting the cleaning companies to compete against each other, and the cleaning company that puts the lowest possible bid to get that contract gets that contract, and then we're the ones who suffer.
Y ellos no les importa, bueno, no saben ni cómo son las condiciones de trabajo, no saben, ahora sí a ellos no les importa cómo hagan el trabajo, a ellos lo que les importa es que queden bien el trabajo y ganar dinero.
And the stores don't care about what's happening to the workers. They don't pay attention to what happens to us. All they care about is that their stores stay clean and that the work gets done.
Lo que nosotros estamos tratando de conseguir es que las tiendas, los supervisores y dueños que firmen un código de conducta que eso beneficiaría a todos los trabajadores de limpieza.
Our goal is to be able to get the stores to sign a code of conduct that would give basic benefits for the workers who are cleaning their stores.
Porque eso nos daría un mejor pago, nos daría 10 festivos pagados, vacaciones incluso, y eso beneficiaría a todo trabajador, no importa el sexo, raza ni origen.
And a code of conduct would give basic benefits and would give better wages for us as workers. And the code of conduct would also prevent discrimination based on race or sex.
Un claro ejemplo es hace 2 meses en la compañía que trabajo, compitió con Carson. Es una compañía de limpieza igual que le quitó a la compañía 4 tiendas.
Just as a really clear example of what's happening in this industry is that another company, Carlson Building Maintenance, was competing with my company, National Floor Maintenance, to get contracts at the stores where we're cleaning, and Carlson actually got the contract with 4 of the Lunds and Byerly stores.
Lo que pasó es de que de un día para otro el supervisor fue de National Maintenance, fue hasta las tiendas de medianoche y les dijo que para el otro día no tienen trabajo los trabajadores y no les importó qué pasara con ellos.
And what happened is that the workers who were working the midnight shift, working at night, the supervisor came at midnight and told them, today's your last day, you don't have any more work. And they didn't care at all about what was going to happen with those workers and the families.
Y ahora los trabajadores que están en Carson ganan menos que nosotros, trabajan menos días, menos horas, e incluso ganan poco, más poco.
And now the new workers with the Carlson Building Maintenance that are working there, they're getting less pay, they have less hours to do the same amount of work.
Nosotros hemos intentado varias veces hablar con los supervisores de las tiendas que nos, así que platicar los problemas que tenemos y la verdad nos han rechazado.
On numerous occasions we've tried to talk with the stores to be able to open dialogue, but they've refused dialogue so far.
Hemos hecho protestas afuera de las tiendas de las Cat Food, hemos mandado postales firmados por personas como ustedes, clientes, que la verdad sí les importa lo que está pasando en la comunidad.
We've sent letters, we've done organized protests, we've sent postcards as well from allies, and so far they've refused to listen.
Y también ha habido violaciones de derechos en los trabajos, junto como acoso laboral y acoso sexual en las tiendas por parte de supervisores que no resuelven ningún problema.
And it's all of these different issues about workplace violations and sexual harassment that we're facing, and the companies don't want to listen and don't want to negotiate.
Y eso es lo que pasó en mi compañía. Ahí fuimos a hablar con el que hace